Hello, Mr. Green. This is Grant Murray. I'm presenting to you in a video format because I think you're tired of reading, and I can't blame you after 31 pages for myself and another 30 or so from, I'm assuming 30 or so from the next 12 other groups, 13 other groups. You probably got quite a bit of reading going on. So this is my classroom right here. And down here are my students. I spend a lot of time looking at my students. I go into their individual profiles, add log entries, give them grades, etc. I know you're having a hard time seeing my mouse, but I also don't want you to be able to read my student names because, you know, all of that. So these are my sections. These are the different courses I teach. English 10, I teach at 3 different schools. But they're all the same school. It's kind of a ridiculous way to get over the California rule setup, but they're all the same. They're all from Connections Academy. And then this is some of the different tools I have, like check my work up here at the top. I can get you a little bit closer to see those. So I got like check my work and some of our RTI SISP programs for remedial work, our honor code, down here in the data views, and then at the very bottom here you see the live lesson. That's what we use for what I used for my case study in 529. So maybe you care, maybe you don't. Anyway, here's me. Definitely not as pretty to look at, but at least it'll be something moving while I go through all these questions here, which might not look familiar to you. That's your questions. I just put it in an email form and sent it to my group members. So yeah, it's a little bit more fun than rereading the questions you've already written. Oh, this is my home office, by the way. So I just moved in, and I know that's all fun and games, and you would like me to get to the substance at some point so that you can move on to the next paper or video or project that you have to grade for the finals. So my greatest success, as you can see, I don't actually get to meet my kids very often. They're mostly just random names on a piece of paper for me. So what I like to do, so for my greatest success was when I actually got to share when I was final project. And I showed it to my wife, and I had it started on the front page, and she went through and she spent like 20 minutes on it, and when she was done, she came back to me and she said, that was very good, I liked it. I said, oh good, you didn't think it was too much like a PowerPoint, like it felt like it was breaking that mold? She's like, oh no, that's great, this is nothing like a PowerPoint. I said, well good. And then we were talking about it a little bit later on, and it occurred to me that she didn't realize that I'd built it in PowerPoint, that it was in fact a PowerPoint file type. And so for me that was a huge compliment, because I was trying to get away from the PowerPoint thing. And so that was nice, and then I got to show it to some of the people in the office, and the biology teachers there would like to use it. This camera is looking like it's going to fall, so I'm using a document cam, not an actual webcam. So for me the greatest success was just seeing my colleagues, my wife, react to it and be surprised that it was a PowerPoint at all. The greatest challenge as far as just this project went was one of the members that we worked with was just very negative, and I don't need to really spend so much time with that. It was just the biggest difficulty was that what that person was supposed to do was foundational, and so we spent a lot of time trying to figure out what it was that was expected or desired from us. And again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on saying negative things about a person, and I don't think that that's really reflective towards the process. I think that the greatest challenge I faced in my part of the work would have to be just learning the system. I had to go in and do Linda to figure out how to even do some of the things I had not thought of. I'd always thought of PowerPoint in a very linear way, and I've done some really fun things with it with animation. I didn't get to do any of that this time just because of time constraints. I'm going to talk about that in the documentation as a group reflection. But I think that I'd always kind of said, okay, well, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and if I want to go back to something that I saw on 3, then I need to repeat that slide and just have a copy of it here. And I kind of did that a little bit with the wrong answers. I had multiple recursions that could probably be reduced in some way through a click counter or something like that, but I didn't, and so that's that. But it was a challenge to go and relearn some of this, learn some of this new stuff about this software that I've been using for years, but just hadn't necessarily been taking full advantage of, and I would like to learn how to use the macros. The thing that I would do different if I were to do this again, would be to add the animation. The things that we talked about in the team reflection on the documentation, just to make it a little bit more fun and more engaging. But as far as the process and working with the team, I think that I would really like to have roles defined beforehand. Jeanette and I had actually changed jobs halfway through the first week because I was the project manager, and we just kind of assigned the roles randomly, I guess, and not really to our strengths. And so when I finally figured out, oh wait, I'm the one doing deadlines and stuff like that, I'm terrible at that. But Jeanette and I had worked with each other, and I said, well, Jeanette, how would you feel about taking over that position? What position do you have? She said media specialist. That worked really well because I was the only one willing to figure out how to do the media on that particular point. I'm sure if Jeanette had it, she would have spent the time to do it herself, but I was the only one actually really interested in it, so it worked out in that respect. But it worked out that she was project manager, but I think that like I said, those foundational pieces were missing from our instructional design, which just kind of snowballed all the way through. And so I would like to, kind of go back and say, look, this is the parts that are part of this job. And yes, we all had input throughout the entire process, but kind of giving that clear mind. I mean, I don't know the difference between a genotype and a phenotype, so I needed to have that question answered before I could create, well, what's the correct answer? How do I loop back to that? What kind of feedback would you like your students to be having? Things like that. And so if that had been defined early in to say, okay, this is for you, this is for me, and this is the thing that I need to be doing, then I would have had a better picture of where I was supposed to be going from the beginning. And so that would be the thing that I would really say is just understanding those roles and spending more time assigning them. We just, again, kind of said, okay, well, let's put our names alphabetical and line them up to the positions, and oh, okay, great, I'm the project manager, whatever that means. The last thing, what would you do, what can you share with your colleagues about the instructional design process? How might they use this process? I would say that, in those same lines, I got to borrow from Kelly, who knew everything about the heredity and could answer those questions. I got to borrow from Rachel, who was really good with the design aspects, visual design aspects, and that she could talk about, okay, this is going to be pretty, these colors are going to go together, etc., etc. This is the fonts that we want. And when I went and built the PowerPoint, it was actually, as far as some of that time-consuming, getting it to look right things, it was just boom, 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 because she had already done that, and that was a real strength from her that she got to lend to me, and I got to use Jeanette's organizational skills, and it kept me on track in a really good way. And then I think likewise they got to see they got to use my logic skills in, okay, how's this going to reference to which slide, what kind of recursion are we going to use, etc., etc., and my willingness to learn the new features of the PowerPoint. And so I think that that's going to be something that I will be using next year. I'm going to be teaching 11th grade English. I haven't taught U.S. history or U.S. literature in a long time. I've been in British literature for the last 7 or 8 years, and so it'll be good for me to go to a colleague and say, look, let's work on this together. you tell me the things that are going to be really important. What are the things that they really need to know? What kind of pieces are going to come in? And you've been teaching for a long time, and so you know this curriculum, and I'm newer, and so I'm going to be able to come at this with this expertise in the design and be able to create something that will be good for both of our students based off of that. And so I think that just convincing them of the ability to borrow other people's strengths is going to be great. And so I know I'm at over 10 minutes now, and I just want to be real brief. Say I chose this format because I've been really focusing on design as far as, like, even right now I'm just throwing words out there and hoping a couple good parts of it stick. That's my style, and it shows even visually. I look cluttered almost all the time, and so I've been trying to do very simple, just getting the main points out there, and so that's why I chose this format for the video. Was just a simple video in the center of a nice faded background, so it's visually just there, and you know, okay, I'm watching a video. And then for the video I chose chose that obviously because you've done a lot of reading. So yeah, that's my reflection. Alright, I hope you like it.